up? Tom, what's going on, brother?
Hey, man. How was your week?
My week was fantastic, man. A lot of unexpected accumulation outside, which we haven't had in 5 years, man.
It changes everything.
It does.
It changes schedules. It changes everything. We're back. Episode 4 of a contracted, committed 52 episodes of the Tom and Q Show. Each one we try to bring you something a little bit different, bring a smile to your face, treat us like your home office coworkers, treat us like your buddies, your pals, your friends. But thank you for being here. Alexa, stop. So, last week we introduced you to our White Oak Productions music wheel. Brought to you by White Oak Productions. So, we like that portion of the show, so we're going to continue to use it. The hard part is that we don't own any of the music.
We don't receive anything.
We don't receive anything for it. So if we get booted off because of a licensed song or something that plays, log back in. We'll log on right back. We'll be right back. Last week we were an hour 11 minutes.
I think so.
Yeah. So we got a lot to talk about. There's a lot to cover.
And the last song.
Yeah, it was
from Michael.
We got slapped on the wrist by YouTube for playing that song. So we don't know what songs those are. So it's kind of a bit of a guessing game. So we're going to start the show again in our White Oak Production section. Just spinning the wheel and seeing kind of where it ends up.
Let me. So you guys know that we're honest and we're not stacking the deck.
Yeah. And so here's how the game is played. Right, you start from the back to the front. So we're going to go to the year 2003.
Last week we discussed knowing, a lot of the 90s stuff, so this is that borderline date.
Rock and roll, baby. 2003, rock and roll, the number 10 song of 2003. Let's see what it is.
We got one of the grunge bands going?
Oh, we could. Top rock songs 2003. Let's check it out. You'd think that like Billboard would come up, but it doesn't. So we'll just go with the first one that comes up. This is what they say. Top 10. Oh. Alexa, play Always by Saliva.
Always by Saliva on Amazon Music.
Okay.
Got it?
I know it. I've heard it.
It's a little bit out of our era.
Yeah.
Probably started listening to more talk radio and everything else back in 2000.
I think this is some of my mall days. So you hear it over the radio. Yeah, definitely know this beat. I mean, it's one of those songs you hum to and nod your head to because you just hear it, I guess.
So, you mentioned the accumulation, right? It changes everything.
Yep.
So today, because of the snow day, we were able to borrow on detail from White Oak Productions the Smalls and Taubes security agency. So, Taubes, you could come over and pull up a seat and introduce yourself and talk to the fans here. This is Taubes. He works 3 hours a week. Does a good job on security. So, we're talking about remote days and snow days. So, Taubes, you've had, 2 days, 3 days since the snow, right? 3 days? Yeah, so the snow came 3 days ago. Tell us a little bit about your last 3 days. What have you done?
Mostly worked on the computer, done a lot with virtual work, and we use Zoom a lot.
What about outside? You go outside?
Yeah, it's freezing out there.
It is? So, what was your favorite part about being outside on a snowy day?
Probably just not having to do a lot of schoolwork.
Not on schoolwork?
Yeah.
So, did you do anything cool outside?
Went sledding.
You did?
Yeah.
How was that?
Fun.
Did you survive?
Yeah.
Cool. Cool. All
I
right.
saw some video. I think one of you guys did a flip into the snow.
Oh,
That was neat.
That was an extremely athletic move. So, we had to take that into consideration when we evaluated who was going to be security for us, and that was
agile.
yeah,
It's important.
Nice.
that's great.
Some back red marks on the back.
Back red marks on your back. All right. All right. Well,
And it was tough.
snow can do that, especially when it's cold. So, well, thanks for working with us today. And we'll bring up the second part of the group, your release.
Thank you, Tops.
Smalls, come on up.
I love these games. I can't get enough of it.
So this is Smalls. He works about an hour a week. Does a good job on security. The last few days, how's your last few days been?
Good.
Tell us a little bit about it. What all have you done?
Alexa, volume down.
Remote learning, right?
Speak up a little bit.
Remote learning.
Oh, remote learning. What do you feel about remote learning?
Yeah, because I don't get to play with my friends.
Yeah, you know, you can see your friends at school. Is remote learning hard or easy?
Hard.
Hard. Okay. What's your favorite part about remote learning?
Probably recess and lunch.
Recess and lunch. So, are those your favorite at school too?
And desserts.
And you like the Zooms? Okay. Okay. Well, that's great. Have you went outside the last few days? Yeah. What's that been like?
Kind of good.
Tell us what was good about it.
First of all, not hitting my rib again.
Not hitting your rib again. How'd you do that?
So my friend's mom had a sled and she had her feet on the sled. She was holding the sled and my rib went right into the sled and I couldn't breathe for a second.
You knocked the wind out of you? Yeah. Yeah. Well, what was your favorite part?
Probably shoveling, going sled riding.
Going sled riding, even though you got hurt, it was fun. Did you do any shoveling? Did you build any snowmen?
We were going to, but then we just walked down the street.
You did.
We walked down a long way down the street.
And who'd you walk with?
My mom and my brother.
Huh. You know, it's amazing that we're in week 4, and 4 of episode 52.
Yeah.
Every week we've asked our wives to come on the show. So we have a streak right now of 4 weeks of our wives declining to come on the Tom and Q show. I just thought I'd lead into that. So I think that streak's going to continue.
I think so. I think it's.
Well,
I got a firm no.
Well, Smalls, you're released. Thanks for your help in talking about remote school and snow days, and hopefully the next few days are better, because I don't think the snow is going anywhere.
No.
So, thinking back, talking about snow days kind of when we were kids, and what we did, at least myself, if you were able to drive, you would drive to, what would be White Oak Middle School, and
Yeah, a hot spot.
you'd go down the hill, and man, I'll tell you, it was fun going down,
Oh yeah.
but coming up, not fun.
So we got we live out on the east side, and Still Meadow Golf Course is essentially our front yard. So my youngest, 8th grade, she went, and I asked her how many times she went down the hill. It's a pretty good sized hill. She said 3. It's just like, are you kidding? That's it?
Just 3.
But yeah, just the climb back up was so much work for her, and it just wasn't worth it. But you just think about how many times when you actually go sled riding, how many times you actually go down the hill. You get down the hill and you lay there for a little bit, you roll around, you cheer on your
7 seconds, right?
right.
Just say 7 seconds.
Yes.
And it takes you 5 minutes to get back up the hill.
Right.
And you're freezing cold, and you're dragging a sled.
Trying to build a ramp. You got to build a ramp. I remember we used to go to Steve Bauman's house, because his front yard was just, the hill was massive. And we had Lee Krause going down, and we built the ramp, and we're all cheering him on to hit the ramp, and he missed it. But we kept screaming, and there's a guardrail right at the bottom of Bauman's Hill.
Yes, Blue Rock right there.
And we're screaming, no, no, no. And Lee thought we were screaming, go, go, go. So he stays on the sled, and he's turning, and he hits his back on that guardrail. I mean, it folded in half, and, you're halfway up the hill, and you're concerned. You jump back down and go check on him. He just laid there. It was like, was it Friday? It was like, my neck. So, yeah, it's a lot of great memories of great hills, man. And we're fortunate on that side to have that golf course so close that our kids can go sled riding when we get this kind of snow.
It's amazing, like, one, the creativity that you come up with when you're doing that stuff, but then also the stupidity. Like, so we had to go, like, if it wasn't White Oak, we didn't really have anything nearby, like, our particular house.
Yeah.
So we had to go down the cul-de-sac, we went through the woods, over the creek, maybe frozen, maybe not frozen, and, like, we didn't have boots. Or, you remember, I was listening or reading something today, and they brought up, do you remember when your mom would put the butternut bread bags over your feet?
Yeah.
So your feet wouldn't get cold. So, like, here I've got bags on my feet, I've got an old pair of gym shoes, like 18 pairs of socks, and you're walking across either slippery rocks or frozen ice that you don't know is even frozen, right? So then you go up the hill, which was an okay hill. It was great for what we had, but there was a creek there.
Yeah.
So if you went too fast, guess where you ended up?
Oh.
In the creek.
Yes.
And so you're soaked anyway at this point. So now you're soaked, you're cold. It's but you got right back up and went back down to it, and you did it again and again and again until you had frostbite, and then you would go in.
Yeah, we went to Struble Elementary, and we'd walk the creek to school sometime. You fall in, soaked up
Covered.
to your knee, and it is what it is. So it's funny because, I don't know, we know what we went through as kids.
Right.
We were idiots.
Right.
But we put ourselves in stupid positions, and then, where we thought our feet were frostbitten, and it just hurt so bad. We're in tears walking home, and, my kids get home from being out in the snow, and they're like, oh, it hurts. And not that I don't have sympathy. It's like, I can relate. You're going to get over it.
Well,
and good.
Have you seen the meme? And there's so many of them out there where it's like a kid from like the 70s and 80s, and he's like holding a beer can and a cigarette. He's like, "This is how I grew up," and I'm still alive. It's kind of the same idea. Like, look, do as you're told. Not as I do, right? Yeah, that's the line. So, we lost the song. Let's get back.
Yeah, so snow days, share some places that you guys go.
92. Top 40.
We got it. 92, we're going to kill it. Number 5. Ooh.
92, top 40, number 5. Let's see what that takes us. Top songs.
So 92, that was middle school?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
Ish.
Yeah, so I would have been, I'm going to date you, but I would have been in 8th grade.
Yeah, that was freshman.
Yeah, I think so.
So it's always a good stroll down memory lane.
You like this. Alexa, play Baby 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 by TLC.
Baby 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 by TLC on Amazon Music.
And then they had the Don't Go Chasing Waterfalls.
Yes.
So we did get a Trish Carley. You've been nominated to be on the show, so Kevin threw your name out there. Says you don't talk nonsense.
You're more than welcome to come on the show, but if you follow Kevin at all, the hard part is, can we keep Trisha awake long enough to go through all of our shenanigans and our nonsense?
Yeah.
He's notorious for sending, every time they go on vacation, notorious for sending pictures of her sleeping, like probably in the driveway. The excitement gets too much to her for her. It could happen here. It's exciting. It's definitely exciting. So last week was an interesting week. There's a lot going on.
Yeah.
A lot going on. So, we won't talk too much about it, but you had the Super Bowl. The game was the game. It ended up being probably more of a blowout than I think anybody really expected.
Yeah, I think Tampa soundly controlled that game.
well, you look at it, and we talked about the offenses dominating the games.
Yeah.
Right? And you know, not to go on a gambling hit again, but you know, the over-under was 55.5. I thought that was a lot.
Yeah.
And especially the way it started out, you get a touchdown right away. You know, they missed the extra point, which is going on another kind of gambling rant, right? Like, how many people were excited when they missed the extra point and thought my square might hit?
Oh, yeah.
Because it throws the number, like something like that just throws the number completely out of whack. And it seems like every Super Bowl, there's something that
gets somebody amped up.
yeah, it's like,
Oh, yeah.
I need a 2. Well, how in the world am I going to get a 2? Well,
Yeah.
they just missed the extra point, or they got a safety.
And that lets you emotionally invest on, like, the 1s and the 0s and the 8s. You know, your common...
I got 7 and a 3. I'm golden.
Yeah, you instantly do the math of, like... And your brain short circuits when you get, like, a 5. You're like, yeah, so if touchdown, safety, well, I'll take a 30. It's so funny. Just the mind, the things we play with in our head.
Well, and even going back to the game, it's like, even up until the end, Patrick Mahomes, right? Like, you thought,
What a freak.
yes, and like you thought, man, he's gonna make a run.
Yes.
He's gonna make a run, right? And make this game close. So you're kind of holding out hope. But man, I saw somebody joke, there was a meme of, you know, basically saying, rumor has it that the Bengals line got picked up by the Chiefs right before the game. He was
It kind of did. I mean,
he was running for his life. I don't even know if they were that bad.
Yeah.
I don't even know if the Bengals line at any point was that bad. I mean, he was just that spectacular of an athlete to basically survive.
I love the stats that come out after.
Oh,
So Pierre Paul never lost a playoff game.
Yeah, ever.
Didn't know that.
Unbelievable.
Sweet. And then you see the one with Mahomes and Russell Wilson. Both rookie year, they both made it. AFC Championship game, whatever. Both of their second seasons, they both won the Super Bowl.
Yes.
And both of their third seasons, they both lost to Tom Brady in the Super Bowl. So their first 3 years in the league absolutely mirror one another perfectly.
Speaking of Tom Brady, if you've been on Twitter,
Yeah.
did you see the party?
Yeah, you see him throw the Super Bowl trophy.
Yes.
Somebody snagged it. Did you see that?
Yes.
So there's 2 views. The one from Brady's back, and you're like, oh my goodness. And then there's the other view from the receiving end. Whoever caught it.
Yes. And it's probably 15, 20 feet over water.
And that thing's not light.
No. So that wasn't even what I was going for. Did you see the Tom Brady after party?
He was a little wobbly.
Just a tad bit. Just a tad bit. But the thing I love about it is, like, he posted on Twitter, like, right away, like, he's back there on Twitter, like, instead of, like, just somebody coming out and trying to cover for him or make some excuse, like, he posts on Twitter, it was the, I'm drawing a blank, what's the superfood? The fruit. What do you make guacamole out of? Avocado. Yeah, he's like, it's just the avocado tequila. Like, and then he put that out on Twitter. He's like, I'm not going to hide from it. Yes, I was ripped out of my mind, but we had a great time. Yeah, it was the avocado tequila. So I thought that was cool. So I think as Brady's kind of gotten older,
Yes.
I think I've kind of grown to maybe respect him a little bit more. Just, I think because he better understands kind of himself.
Yeah. 100%. And you know, when I watched, I'm sure you watched it as well with the Bulls, the Last Dance or whatever. You know, they were giving Michael Jordan kudos for always being present, is what they said.
Yeah.
And now when you hear interviews with Tom Brady, it's like just the whole experience for him is just slow motion. When he won the NFC Championship game, it's like, hey, get somebody else up here.
Right.
Like it's just he's not starstruck by fighting to get to the Super Bowl and win it. So it's so neat to watch his demeanor now versus then. It's so neat to watch Jordan's demeanor later than how hungry even Kobe Bryant later versus early how hungry these young athletes are to achieve it and what's the old cliche act like you've been there before and these guys are for Tom Brady it's like what he's doing. You got Bill Russell, which nobody talks about. It's Mike and Brady, but Russell, I mean, what, 11? It's crazy. But again, after you do it and it's just part of your norm, and every other season you're going to the Super Bowl. Yeah, things do become slow motion.
Just that.
You see all the videos where he's, Tom, what are you looking for? My family.
Right away.
So life is just slow motion when you're used to success.
Like the game and everything else aside, like the whole time, like, yeah, the presence of it. Just he's right there. He's in the moment all the time.
Yeah, I appreciate watching that. I'm fanatical with, and maybe cheesy, corny, I don't know. I love post-game conferences. I just love to hear the mindset of these people and what they've gone through, and just kind of a lot of the cliche things. Yeah, cliche for a reason, but it's exciting to hear and hear someone at that level put life into perspective, and it's things that we all can relate to. Right? It's not to get on a deep philosophical rant here, but I love post-game conferences as much as I love watching the game, just because I love to hear what they have to say.
Right.
It's so awesome.
Yes, whether it's good or bad.
Yes.
I would be the same way, like with the Bengals. Like if they lost, like, okay, I want to hear what this guy says on why we lost, right?
Yeah.
Or when they win, I like hearing. Everybody likes I like excitement, right?
Yep.
And I'm the type of person, I think you are too, that like I like watching other people be excited.
Love it.
So like it's kind of like osmosis. So like you and I sitting here talking, like we could have a really, really crappy day, but we're doing this, so it's exciting and just in our voices and everything. You forget about all that, and you're just kind of everybody's just kind of raising their level.
Yeah.
For lack of a better way of saying it. Man, we lost another song. Let's see what we got. 1994.
Got it.
Country.
Got it.
Oh man, 14.
Man, 94 low for Garth Brooks, man.
94 country. 94 country. Top.
Is it our versatile music?
Yeah. It's our music dyslexia. We can go anywhere with this. Well, anywhere between 85 and 2005. Let's see. What we said, 14?
Yeah.
Not a huge fan of the song, but we'll play it. Alexa, play No Doubt About It by Neil McCoy.
No Doubt About It by Neil McCoy on Amazon Music.
You know, another thing we got to kind of talk about, the Super Bowl, is you picked Tampa Bay.
I did.
And then forced me in a hole to pick KC.
I did.
So I owe you lunch.
Yes.
So I think we should take that lunch show
On the road?
on the road.
I like that.
So that's in the cards, right?
Yeah.
So this show will go on the road on occasion.
Maybe next week, 2 weeks, we're going to sit down and have lunch and make sure the restaurant approves of us.
This will be the first time somebody actually buys you lunch. You've been
Yeah.
buying a lot of lunches.
I have. I have been buying a lot of lunches, so I'm throwing it out there, guys. I love to catch up. I love to talk. As you can see, we're doing this because I just love to hear what's going on with people's lives and where they are now, if you will. And, throw some lunch down.
Again, we have security guards over there on loan from White Oak Production, doing a great job. We've yet to be bum rushed.
Boss is in the room.
That's right. We've yet to be bum rushed. If you guys want to guard upstairs, you can certainly do that too. Or you can guard down here. I feel extremely safe with you two down here. So thanks again. Quickly, again, talking about last week, we had some stock tips. Bad stock tips.
May-ish.
Really poor.
Yeah.
Right. From my perspective, really poor. Right? AMC, which was the big AMC and GameStop, they were the big ticket items, right? They were the hot money.
Yeah.
Until they weren't.
My my little day trader, so like I said, she's really diving into it. So she bailed on them.
Yep.
So she was on it.
She get out early enough on any of those.
She was losing on AME or whatever.
Yeah.
And it spiked back up.
Always gives you hope.
And she just cashed
She
out.
was smart.
And she cashed out, and she asked me not to share what she's diving into right now. But she works third shift, so her sleeping schedule is.
I'll tell you exactly what I'm diving into right now.
Okay.
Pot stocks.
Yeah, I mentioned that for Jess last week. She is.
Yeah.
And when it becomes legalized, it's going to make money.
I don't smoke it, whatever. Don't necessarily believe in it, not put my beliefs out there. However, if there's an opportunity there to make a dime,
100% on the same page.
yeah. So not to cut you off, but you kind of led me down that path of like, yeah, like, I'm not afraid to say it. Like right now, like those cannabis stocks, those are the ones that are, for whatever reason, whether it's
She's got like 3 of them, and she's like, what? And they're penny stocks,
yes,
but they're starting to turn into dollars,
yes.
which is.
And I read something today. I don't necessarily think I have to worry about it because I don't put that much of an investment in it.
Right.
But got these new people that have come to the day trade, right? Like Jessica and myself that are new to this, right? And like I said, it's not significant. None of it's going to be significant enough to make a whole lot of changes, whether it's in my life or a whole lot of changes in the way I live.
Right.
It's really just kind of for fun, making a buck here, making a dollar here, and just learning, right? Because I'm always just trying to constantly learn different things. So now I'm reading things that like 20
you never cared about.
25-year-old Tommy's not reading.
Yes.
Not reading the Wall Street Journal.
Yes. It's another. I can get it. I love that about life as well. Like just as you evolve and you grow and you mature.
It's called
you
getting old.
So we're going to bounce around because that's what we do. So that is where I am. Right. I used to be a hyper competitive, angry competitive. I hated losing. And as you get older, you as a coach, you teach the kids that get the skill, develop the skill, play your game, stay within who you are. If you're a power hitter, if you're not, know who you are. Well, at 44, I know who I am until last night. I get home from making a living, and it's about 8 o'clock, and I get the shovel out. So I start doing the driveway, and the guy across the street has a snowblower out. So the competitiveness in me comes out like, I'm going to get my driveway done before he gets his done with his snowblower.
Yeah.
So I'm like flaring up my driveway. Lower back starting to flare up, and I'm like eyeballing the guy, and he's doing like the driveway or the sidewalks and stuff. And let's just say when I went in, the snowblower was still going. So, and I have about a 70-foot driveway, so
Pretty long.
4 cars. Yeah, 4 cars length, and it's a double wide. So, I mean, it's a good sized driveway, but
See, I was the opposite.
yeah.
So I looked over and I'm like, man, I'm out here pretty early. It was done snowing. I'm out here pretty early. Like I got the shovel. Well, the fun part is like my kids take the shovels and the sleds and everything. They just stay in my yard. So like I'm shoveling our driveway with a shovel that's probably 2.5 feet long, and it's got, I don't know if you can see this, maybe a foot head on it, right? And I'm out there shoveling, and I haven't even walked around the house. I couldn't find it. We have one good shovel. I couldn't find it.
Right.
So I'm out there with that thing, and I'm getting around the cars, and like I look over like 2 houses down, whatever, my neighbor, and his driveway's like all clean, and I'm like, damn, he's got a snowblower. So part of me is like, do I slow play this and hope that he kind of comes out? Do you fall over and fake a heart attack and hope that somebody comes and helps you? Or do you say, forget it, I'm going down to the hardware store, and I'm going to buy a daggone snowblower.
Yeah.
But like in the same sense, I'm like, if I had a snowblower, like,
It would take up space in the garage because
yes, but I feel like I would love doing it so much.
you did the whole street.
I'd be the guy. Yeah, I'd just right down the sidewalk, just walking.
Some little spots, put your thermos,
Yes.
your coffee
Yeah.
warm,
Yeah.
and
Just go right down the street. You know,
you would become a local legend.
correct.
Yes.
So segue, right? Perfect segue. Last week we introduced you to a couple of our cohorts, sponsors, for lack of a better
backers,
word.
believers in the program.
They like kind of what we're doing. So one is obviously Weathered Productions, and now apparently Smalls and Taub's security agency, but also Local Legends. So we showed you some of their gear. Make sure you visit their Facebook page. I'll tag that on here afterwards.
Be at local.legend.com. Shop around. We got some rocks glasses. It's got a few great things going on. So as you can see, our attire today.
Yes.
He's got his glory days, his Legends Day.
1996. So if anybody's out there that sees this, that was on that team. 1996, Corey High School baseball team. We did not wear these jerseys. Number 20, names on the back. We bought these, thought they were cool. We didn't wear them. Our uniforms were terrible. But bought these, and I've just held on to them.
they were sweet uniforms. They were Cub-esque. They were Cub road uniform-esque looking.
This is where we're going down that path. Right? This is where we're going to go down the path. So you've got a diehard Cubs fan, diehard Reds fan. Our uniforms were horrible. and they'd been around since the 70s.
Yeah.
The 70s.
They were gray, the Corian across.
The gray ones weren't bad.
They still peppered in that royal blue. And Corian's just black and red now,
Right.
but
Well,
through the 80s and 90s.
We
they had
wanted to
that
be black and red.
Yeah.
But they had the royal blue, and it was the pinstripes. The pinstripes were red, and literally
Oh, the home uniform.
awful.
Yes,
Awful.
they were awful.
The gray ones were okay. They were
Yeah.
clean. I'm a huge I'm not a big pin, mainly because of that. I'm not a big pinstripe guy.
You're right there. Those home uniforms are
Hideous.
the red shirt. There was a pink.
Yes.
They
Well,
were
by the time
awful.
we got them, they were 1997. Those uniforms were from 77 or 76.
Yeah.
I'm sure there are pictures of my parents' friends in them.
Yeah, that was a perfect uniform because you had the Cincinnati Reds wishbone C.
Yes.
And the Cubs road uniforms. To me, that was.
I see where you're going. I see where you're going.
The
gray ones,
pinstripe ones were.
Yes.
Oh, I forgot about those.
Yes.
So yeah.
But they were hideous. So anyway, that's kind of why I'm wearing this. You can tell the story on what you got there.
Yeah, softball season's getting ready to start up, so of course that is a big part of our life. And Paige is getting ready to go, and she's at UMass. And it's funny, wearing this or anything UMass that I have, the first thing that people, and I guarantee a lot of our watchers, as soon as they saw the shirt, they thought Marcus Camby right away. And then freaking coach, I can tell. Calipari, I'm sorry. So yeah, it's just every time I wear this or have this on, I hear those two names, and some of the originals are Dr. J. 'Cause, yes, Dr. J went to UMass as well. But it segues into and goes into that perfect value of being a local legend. So it's just that is the impact that Marcus Camby has for the rest of his life, and the splash that he made on that university. And you think of Bo Kimball and Hank Gathers and Loyola Marymount, when guys come in and they just put their school on the map, if you will.
Right.
That they are married to it, they are linked to it. So Phil Sims didn't know this, but he went to Moorhead, which is right around the corner.
Yeah.
So Mark Gastineau went to a little small school out in Oklahoma City. So I got a friend that went to school there, and Mark Gastineau is a defensive end for the Jets in the 80s. Jets all-time leading sacker. Anyway, the whole school is just Mark Gastineau.
All it is, yeah.
Because that's, and not to disrespect anyone that went to that school, but that's the one that came out of that school, and it's so neat how
what's funny, and this is it's a little bit
immortalized.
Smaller scale than that, right?
Yeah.
So I remember, I'm not very good with names in the short term, but my long term memory is pretty good.
Yeah.
Right. So I'm a UC basketball fan, always have been, right? And I remember they played Eastern Michigan. I think the game was on Channel 19. Might have been Tom Brenneman doing it, or who's the guy that does the entertainment show? Anyway, that'll come to me too. But like I said, short-term memory, whatever.
Right.
But they were doing the game, and the games used to be on 19. They were playing Eastern Michigan, and they talked about this guard from Eastern Michigan. His name was Earl Boykins.
Yeah.
Okay? He was little, he was tiny, but he could light it up. And so I think UC ended up winning, but he had a pretty good game, whatever. And when I was going on college visits, we actually went to Eastern Michigan, and he was there at that time. And I'm walking around with the co-ed, whatever. She's taking me wherever the cool places are, and Dad's with the coaches and the administration. And, I started bringing up Earl Boykins. Oh, we love Earl, And then, I was watching in Eastern Michigan, just kind of came across a MAC basketball game. It was Eastern Michigan, and they brought up the great Earl Boykins, and this was recently. I'm like, that guy, he's not Marcus Camby, yes, but a school like Eastern Michigan, that's their local legend.
That's their
Earl
legend,
Boykins.
man. That's that's their guy that they invest in, and as a university, you can only hope that person represents your school well, right?
Right.
So it's just what are they doing after this? Because you're forever linked to that identity.
Right.
So whatever you're a local legend, that's your identity of just being exceptional in someone else's eyes.
Yeah.
So when they think of that, they think of you.
So if you want to be a local legend,
yes,
you probably need to mind your P's and Q's. You don't have, necessarily be perfect, but mind your P's and Q's and, live your life like you're being seen.
Yes, that's great, man. I like that.
Live your life like you're being seen.
That would have been one of my post game interviews, or somebody makes a comment like that. I'm like, oh, yeah, I just love the word.
Yeah.
Live like you're being seen. So
Make it quick. Let's go to another round here. 2000. Top 40. All right, flip it again.
11?
Number 11, man. This is when it gets tricky. 2000, number 11.
So yeah, back to the stocks real quick, because we did go on a bit of a rant there. So I know it's tough to keep
This
up.
is what happens.
So yeah, if people are trying to follow along and chime in and want to talk about things, we'll do our best. But we're all over the board ourselves. But Jessica works third shift, and so her sleeping schedule is insane. It is not normal for her to be up before 11 or noon on days off. And she had her alarm set for 9:15 the other day, and I heard it go off, and it kind of shocked me. It's like, what are you doing getting up so early, in her world? She's like, the market opens up at 9:30. I got to be ready.
I don't play Creed. So we'll go to
12.
We'll go to the next best song. So we're going to go to number 10.
10, okay.
So we're going to
Fair
go down.
enough. We'll always upgrade.
Yeah,
that's
always
fair.
up, right? So, Alexa, play He Wasn't Man Enough by Tony Braxton. This one goes out to all of you who love Tony Braxton. Anyway, stocks.
So yeah, it's interesting to because she's doing well, man. She's making some money, and it's great to see. And but to hear her get up at 9:30 because the market opens at 9:30, boy, she was ready to go, man. It's like a little kid Christmas morning.
Just watching.
I gotta be up, and she just got in, checked in on her on the moves that she made, and
What's the old saying? Like a watch pot never boils.
yeah,
It's hard.
yes.
Again, I don't put that much into it. Like, I literally, maybe I buy a couple of shares. That's it, right? And they're cheap, so you might be talking $5, $10. Kind of diversifying in some other stuff. But even those small ones like that, I'm like, ooh, I'm up $2.
Yes.
He's like, I'm double my money.
Yes.
So it kind of works itself out. There was another thing too. Kind of going back to some of the stuff we talked about last week, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, one of the prop bets we talked about was the national anthem.
Yeah.
And you actually texted me what it was, right? During the anthem. What's funny about that is, I call this, and this is, I don't know the guy personally, but this guy ruined the life of the anthem guy, anthem bettors, all year and probably forever. So, there was a picture on Twitter of a guy outside the stadium as they were doing the rehearsal, listening to Eric Church and Jasmine Sullivan sing the song with a stopwatch, timing it, and then post it on Twitter. It goes viral at 2 minutes and 15 seconds. The over-under was 1 minute and 57.
Yep.
It goes viral. All of the sports books pulled that bet off, and nobody could bet on it anymore. Yes, he ruined it.
Yeah, and that goes right back to the local legend. Just pay attention to what you're doing. Other people are involved. Other people have consequences, and that's something fun at every Super Bowl party. That was just the country was robbed.
He took it away from us.
I'm going to be funny. I don't. I'm a big rule follower.
Yeah.
Just follow the rules, man. That's just
At least wait till like the day of.
And before the show last week, we were talking about the over and under kind of our strategy.
Yeah.
And when we found out there were two people doing it, we're like, oh, we guarantee it's going to go over. They're going to compete against one another, and they're going to feed off one another. And
We were going to do that
we were all in.
regardless.
Yes, it was over.
And this guy blew it for everybody.
What shocked us is when we played Whitney Houston, we thought we pretty
Yeah,
much
we didn't care.
that she was going to crush it because she's such a mega power note holding singer. And I don't know if that's proper terminology. In
I told that
singing
story
world,
I told the story of our show last week probably 10, 15 times.
157. We were like,
Oh man, how in the world? How is Whitney not going way over with a voice like that and holding notes and just insane that like those two people and like what's funny is that we were still timing it and we're still like I'm still doing the same thing. I'm like rooting like Eric Church is holding a note or he's playing the guitar. I'm like just keep playing, like hold out that red glare. It's like
how much did he look like Blake Shelton?
you know what's funny? Hold on. So I got this comparison. Okay. My own wife looks at Eric Church playing, and she didn't know Eric Church well.
Okay, I didn't either.
So she said, he looks like Tommy. Yeah. She said, I look like Eric Church. I've actually gotten that twice. So Eric, if you need a body double, I can do it.
Grow the hair out?
Yes.
Get it going a little bit?
Let it go. I mean, same color. I just need some aviators. Maybe Oakley or Ray-Ban. If they want to sponsor our show, give us a couple of pairs of glasses.
Yeah.
I could go around being Eric Church.
I didn't see it, but sometimes some certain angle that somebody
Maybe
sees
you will
it's
now.
like we've done that before. Like, doesn't that look like so and so? And they were like, not at all.
You might. You never know. Maybe.
You're not seeing it from my angle. The lighting was different. So she had some,
So, we talked about local legends. We've talked about kind of last week, the week that was. One of the things this past week, I mean, obviously, if you're Facebook friends with me, you've seen I've done at least more recent Facebook Live stuff, right? Whether it be kids games, which there's a flag football game tonight. Probably we'll have that Facebook Live. Basketball games, talk about that real quick. 2 hard-fought games last week.
Yeah.
We won them both. We're inching our way back up, kind of towards the top.
Okay.
So that's been good. Greg Church. I don't even know who Greg Church is. But he's no Eric Church. I can guarantee you that. So I kind of... When you do these types of things in these Facebook Lives and these videos, right, you're really putting yourself out there.
I agree.
It's easy for you and I to kind of sit here and do it, more so than it is to, like, when you do your videos individual, or I do a video individual. So I kind of challenged myself, right? So I had always heard about these trigger girls, like, whether it's like on the Dan Patrick show or whatever. Like they're phenomenal. Right. It's a wood pellet grill. I'm like, well, does that compare to a gas grill? Blah blah blah. I like when we camped. Like I had an old almost like a barrel type smoker, and it was put charcoal in, wood chips, whatever. And it was really an art, right?
Yeah.
Really, really, really an art. Well, these grills kind of take the art out of it, right? So like, it's almost like a crock pot. So you set it and forget it, right? You just kind of like...
Yeah. How much we're obsessed with convenience versus craft.
Now, on the flip side, right? So, like, I wanted it.
Yeah.
Like, it's easy.
The taste compromised?
So, hold on.
Okay.
So, I mean, this thing's got an app to it to where, like, I can basically... I turn the...
Go on a walk.
Yeah, go on a walk. I have stuff on the grill. I'm at a basketball game, or I've been at baseball practice, and I can look at the app and see what the temperature is in the grill.
Wow. See
what the temperature is on whatever it is I'm making. If it doesn't, and again, it's not just a smoker.
Yeah.
Like it's a grill too. You just have to learn kind of how to do it. But anyway, it was a new experience, right? So like, on Super Bowl Sunday, I was going to a party, and Nicole went to Kroger's a few weeks ago, and she had bought this pork butt, this pork shoulder, to do pulled pork with. And I had done them like in the old smoker, and it's really hard. It takes a long time. And the app's like got all these recipes and everything in there. So I was going to try this, and I thought, you know what? If I'm going to try it, I'm going to record it. I go on, I see all these other people, whether it's on YouTube or on the app. It's like anything, right? You want to learn how to change a tire? You don't know? Go to YouTube.
Oh, 100%.
You want to learn how to change a
our
tire?
garage door, open it through our cars, everything we do.
It's like you can put up your serial number in YouTube, and somebody's already working on your car. Like they've already had the same problem as you. So I'm doing the same thing. So I'm like following this on the app, right? So they show you kind of how to do it, whatever. And so I'm going to try that. So I was really putting myself out there to kind of make this pulled pork video.
All right.
So we had to be there at 3:30. or so, right? So I'm really nervous. It's going to be done. So the night before, I'm doing all my prep work and put it in the fridge, and like I have to get up at 4:30. So now I'm like freaked out. Like if I miss it, if I miss it because it has to be done by 5. If I miss it, like the whole thing's screwed.
Yeah.
We're not going to get to the party. We're not going to do this. We're going to miss all these different things. So I'm like, and like I've got like that Kramer-esque, like biological clock. Right? So you have to do something, and like I know when I have to be up, and it's like, and
Great Seinfeld.
yeah, and I'm like, I'm pretty good at getting up before or at that time.
Right.
So again, I got up at 4:30, and I'm like, oh, shoot it. So I'm shooting it. I'm all by myself. I didn't want to wake anybody else up, and then get it put in, come back, go to sleep, try to get back to sleep, kind of wake up, have it, check it out and get up in the morning, have a basketball game, come back, ended up pulling the thing off at like 1. Ended up being great. Long story short, like when you do these things, you really do put yourself out there. So, and it was a lot of fun. Like, and I put it on like all these different Facebook groups that I'm part of, like this smoking Facebook groups. Like I put the video out there, and like people are responding. Like I got more views on that than anything else that we put out there. Like people are asking questions and everything like that. So I'm like, I don't know, maybe putting ourselves out there and doing some of those things like that, like it's kind of rewarding.
I agree, man. I agree. And you know what? We're just a local legend, right?
Yeah.
When you do these things and you succeed, you become legendary. When you do these things and fail, guess what? If you live like somebody's looking, you still become legendary. Might do the right thing. And
my dad always says to me, a good story is better than a good time any day.
Yeah.
Okay. So even when you fail, right, and you look back on it, whether it's
100%.
a day, 2 days, 2 years, 20 years, whatever it is, you look back on it, you're like, that's pretty funny.
It's like weddings. They're so stressed out about it being perfect.
Right.
And it's like, well, no. What do you got to talk about if everything goes right?
Nothing.
We got a wedding. How was it? Perfect.
This is exactly what we expected.
When Jess and I got married, Paige was like a year and a half, and we're leaving and walking out, and Paige was right after us, and we hear everybody laughing, and her diaper fell off as she was walking up. It was just
What are you gonna do?
It was clean, it was dry, it was just she was just nervous, waiting in front, and she was kind of playing with the stickies or whatever. That's how long it's been since I've dealt with diapers or stickies. She's just playing with it, and when she's walking up the aisle, she's looking at everybody and just kind of, an 18-month-old kid, just nervous, and it falls off. And
at that point, there's nothing that Jessica or anybody else can do about it.
Nothing. The guy that married us, the pastor that married us, he did the candle lighting. Well, he forgot to tell everybody to sit down. So we had a standing
I was
O.
there.
We had a standing O the entire time. So
We kept looking like this.
is he going to tell everybody to sit down? Oh my God, that guy was
Fortunately,
so
it
nervous.
was pretty quick.
Yeah, he was so nervous. We came together, and Jessica and I were looking at each other, and the heart pounding, and you're like, oh, this is real. So before that, when she's coming down the aisle, she starts crying, and she pulls her dad's arm because he wanted to start over because he didn't have. So she's like tugging at his arm, and I see him like muscle her, and she's like, and she buries her face and kind of crying, and she gets down, and we were staring at each other, and we're like nervous, right? You don't realize you're going to be until that moment, and then we turned and we looked at the pastor, and he was sweating in his eyes, and we were like, he relaxed me, but at the same time I was like, oh no,
If this guy's nervous, he probably does 100 of these a year.
it's like Jim
I think I'm doing this one time.
It's like Jim Rome listening to Carl Lewis sing the national anthem.
Right.
Here we go. No, we don't. Like, ah. So he backs up, and I had to tell him like, back up. So he takes a couple steps back, and it was quick because he was just A to B.
Get in, get out.
Yes.
We gotta get
the Princess Bride.
Let's go again.
Yeah, that was
2001.
R&B. R&B.
Flip it. Let's see what we got.
What number? 2001 R&B number. Even on the bottom of one. 13. So those are fun moments that make it worthwhile.
Yeah,
So
it's a story.
when you put yourself out there and it messes up, who cares, man? Who cares? Grace, my sophomore, her boyfriend. He was bringing her home the other day in the snow, and we got our mailbox at the end of our driveway, and there's landscaping there. There's bushes around it, so it's pretty nice. But we don't have sidewalks, and we got the little ditches on both sides of the driveway, and it's got rock setting around it, so the drainage and everything, and a little gravel in there. And so Grace called, said, "Hey, Micah ran into the mailbox." So I go outside, and he missed the mailbox maybe a half inch, but the front tire fell in that little ditch, and there's rock there, so there's no catching anything. And he absolutely smoked the bush. it was so like he wasn't like, you could tell in his demeanor that he was just like, "Oh, Mr. Suggs, I'm so sorry." And I'm like, I don't care. Like, you're okay, my kid's okay. This bush, we've been staring at it for 3 years, and we're going to do something different around the mailbox. I don't know. We're on a fence. We're
doing something different now.
100%. So I'm like, thank you for making up my mind and smoking this bush in front of the mailbox, man. This landscaping's done. We're redoing it in the spring.
Alexa, play Differences by Genuine.
Ooh.
So, it's funny you say that, because I had a similar experience, like going back, right? So, like, we dated for like 5 years, whatever, before we got married. But it was relatively new. And we were driving, I swear, like, even to this day, it's always super hard to pull out.
Yeah.
Like, really, really hard. Like it doesn't have the apron there. It's really just straight.
Yeah.
And so, like, as a kid driving, like, I can totally understand, because I did it. Like, but they parked their van back there, and it was big, like one of those big, giant vans. Not your Astra van or Caravan. It was Dodge.
Yeah, big full-size van.
Yeah, and so I back up, and like, at that point, again, new in the relationship, I backed my truck up, which was a piece of garbage truck anyway, but back up, hit the side of it, I'm like, and like in my head, I'm like, okay, the right thing to do is to go inside. The wrong thing to do is end the relationship right now and just take off. But
we didn't have the security today.
I'm like, So I did the right thing. I went in, and they were very similar, like kind of gracious. It's like I didn't really have a job, or let alone a good one. I was like trying to pay like $50, whatever, to get to them. And finally, when I finally paid the whole thing off, like basically they just gave it all back to me.
That's cool,
right?
man. So you live with the guilt, the pressure for a little bit of doing the right thing, and then that's awesome, man. That is great. Because you need that in life, man. You need that anxiety to do the right thing.
Well, it's a crossroads too, right?
Yes.
Like, you hope that your kids, when they get into a similar situation, which we happen to have, kind of not entirely similar, but similar, right? Knowingly, if they have the ability to make the right decision, you make the right one, right?
Yes.
So in that fork in the road,
Yes.
it's kind of goals as parents is if there's a fork in the road, you've got the left, which is the devil on the one side telling you, over here, you should do this. This is going to be awesome. It probably is going to be awesome, right? And you got this one over here that's like this is going to be boring, but it's the right thing to do. It's like you hope that they go to the boring route.
100%. 100%.
But so not that necessarily always happens, but just kind of speaking of kind of boring, kind of forks in the road, and getting, I guess, a little bit kind of going away from kind of what we've done kind of on the show in the past. So Ohio, which is where we're at, Cincinnati, Ohio, maybe, apparently, today, when the governor speaks, he's either going to push the curfew back, which for bars and restaurants it was 10 o'clock, and then there was a number you had to hit, and Ohio hit that number, and then he pushed it to 11, and then there's a number you have to hit. Well, apparently Ohio's hit that number, and that curfew can move again. Now, whether that's so in Ohio, most of you, I think if you're listening, you're in Ohio, but if you're not, or if you catch us on YouTube or Facebook Live later, bars typically, they have to close by 2 o'clock in the morning, right? That's the way it used to be. We had a curfew put in place where it was basically, hey, last call at 9, bars close at 10.
Yep.
Right? And that gave time for people to get out, whatever your beliefs are on that, what have you, it just is what it is. And then about a week and a half ago, I think they moved it to 11.
Yep.
Last call at 10. So I don't know. Maybe they'll move it to 12. Maybe they'll just go back, just lift it completely. I know this
Affects me none.
none whatsoever. That's exactly where I was going with that.
No,
Like, so
like great, but I mean, I don't know.
the only issue we have, so we play in the summertime, like right as that kind of hit. So it's kind of late summer, early fall. We play sand volleyball at a bar. And they have a beautiful outdoor patio, whatever, and it's fun. You have a lot of friends, and whatever they're there. And the games are scheduled like until like 11 or
I play out in Ross, yeah.
and like, and I know where you play it.
Yeah.
So I'll hit on
Bulls.
Yes.
Yep.
So we're gonna go a little bit sideways. So I had a friend of mine who, not to try to get Big Bulls in any trouble, but I wasn't gonna say their name. But they apparently let it go. Like they were still open. 1991.
We're on it. Middle school. Rock.
Rock. 91 Rock. 10.
Oh, top 10. 91 Rock.
91 Rock. Top 10. But they were still staying open until 2:30, and I guess their thought was if they got 3 strikes, and they haven't had one. Which, whatever, good for them. Not trying to judge.
Nobody's going out there.
Yeah,
I don't want to say it's in the middle of nowhere, because
right.
But Ross is a beautiful, lovely town, but that's just kind of they're paying attention to. So that owner took a risk and took a gamble, and it paid off. He put himself out there, and it paid off. Who's going to head that far out to? Cause you got your Miami campus, Oxford,
Right.
and you got Coleraine, I guess, if you will, would be the next closest community.
Alexa, play Baby Baby by Amy Grant. This game sucks today.
I didn't even. So I gotta hear the music go. But then you got. Oh, baby.
I feel like we're back working at Chanson's, just playing over. Or you're at the dentist office. Like,
kudos to him, man, for again, I'm a rule follower, so I'm always following rules. But, if you're in a unique situation,
well, so
you're an exception to the rule. I do believe in that as well.
So we played volleyball, and they had these games that were scheduled out to like 11 or 11:30.
Mm-hmm.
So like 10 o'clock would hit. And like, it's like, if you're going to be there, or if you had to play, it's like, you've got to get as much as you can, like not kill yourself, but like you got to buy as much as you can at that certain time to try, if you're going to sit there and have a couple beverages or whatever before your game starts. Like, it just totally, like, it was just really odd, right? So, like, for the business owner that's able to stay up late, like, I'm extremely happy for them if they're doing things kind of, if they're the rule followers and doing it the right way. I'm also happy, it's not going to affect me. I think once in 2020 did I make it till 2 o'clock.
Yeah.
Once. And it was complete by accident, which is usually how the best things happen, but complete accident.
I was talking to Paige, and the whole transition up in UMass has just been crazy with can we use isolation?
I think, yeah, that's good. Good skirt.
With a lot of things that they've got to go through with, what's going on in the world, but they're all semi-free now, and they're hanging out with one another on a better pace than they can, and they're all in the same, but, we check in with her every day. How was last night? How was your day? And she's like, we stayed up so late last night just talking. Like, aren't those the absolute best nights ever? We talked about that a few weeks ago, right? Like, we were talking about that. We play a lot as we get older. Like, we get together with friends, and we play a lot of board games, right? And like, the board game, the first time you play it, kind of catches you by surprise, right? Yeah.
Or like, it's kind of like, it doesn't have to be a board game, but just anything, right? Like, you have a good time doing something.
Yes.
And then
fellowship is so
it's fun, and you're together, and you're cracking jokes, and different things happen. The worst part about that is you go to try to recreate it the following day, the following week. Never. It's always just such a huge letdown.
100%.
Huge.
100%.
Like you said, like she's up talking to her friends or whatever, and getting to know people, and it's awesome, whatever. And she's at the age where she's going to have a lot more nights that are going to be like that, but she's never going to recreate that one moment.
Never. And it changed. It changed. I could hear it in her voice. I could hear it in her, and she's still happy to go to school there, but there's still a transition stage. And no matter what you do, work, wherever you're at in the world, but that was a pivotal moment in. Is that a ding? Pivotal?
That was actually that's what that is. It's called a shameless plug.
There you go.
We're at the pivotal part in our show.
Yeah.
We almost made it the whole show, I think, without actually hitting the bell one time.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, it was cool. I don't know what triggered that thought, but I threw it in there that those conversations, those late nights of just talking.
Yeah.
You accidentally stayed up till 1.
Yes.
Yeah, and then sometimes things just happen, and you're just like, it's like, man, tonight was great.
Yeah, it was fun. The next morning you get up and you're like, oh my gosh, I'm exhausted. That was stupid.
Yeah.
But then you eventually you go back to that same spot. Like, I'm going to try to recreate that particular moment. Or let's play. The worst is let's play that game again because it was so fun the other night.
Yeah.
It's like,
let's do it again.
Yeah.
And then you're sitting there and you put this responsibility on the situation that
yes.
never existed before.
Never. Yes.
So like, how are we going to do this again?
Yeah. Well.
No, you're not.
Yeah. There's a lot of pressure there.
Just let life be organic.
As guys, we feel a lot of pressure.
Life,
right?
Yeah.
You get to that point. There's a lot of pressure that you have to live up to.
Life will take care of itself.
Correct. Not really a good segue, but I do kind of have this surprise to throw at you. Right?
Sweet.
So, we talked about when I throw some of these, it's kind of just those random Tommy thoughts, right? So it's like,
I like the Tommy thought.
Yeah, it's kind of appeasing.
Yeah,
kind of everybody. But we talked about Pepsi versus Coke, right? We talked about just the things that kind of just get at you a little bit, where it's like they happen all the time and they're super annoying.
Mm-hmm.
Have you been to a restaurant lately where you haven't sat at a wobbly table?
Oh man! Yesterday, I almost smoked everybody's drinks.
Yes.
Like we sat down and drinks are on the table, and I just do one of these, right?
It's just the whole table.
Yeah. And the whole thing was, and you see everybody's hands.
There it goes.
I mean, it was impressive how we've all got inner ninja, right? We just chill.
Yes, and that's
the whole drink. I was like, oh,
what is that? We talked about that last week. The greatest catches in kitchen history.
Yes.
Did you see that?
Yes.
They caught it.
Yes.
Yeah, but
there's a scene in Tombstone where they bump the table, and it's when Ike is I know Ike. Let's have a spelling contest. That scene
Yes.
when they get mad at each other and it bumps the table, and I can't remember who's sitting on the seat, but a bottle falls and it rolls, and he snatches it and he sets it, and he just goes on, and it was perfect. But anyway, go ahead.
So wobbly tables, right?
Yeah.
So it seems like any place that we have went to over the last, let's just say, 2 months.
Ever?
Yeah, pretty much. I feel like I always get the wobbly table.
Yeah.
Like, happy hour. 2 weeks in a row. Friday. I sit down, just like you just said. You did it?
Yep.
And I can take it. I don't know, maybe the better question is, how long do you actually take the wobbly table before you actually do something about it? And then a follow-up question to that is, what do you do about the wobbly table?
I don't know that I've ever done anything.
Life hack, right? Life hack, right now.
Yeah, I've seen people roll up napkins and put under
Close.
there, but
Life hack.
life hack.
Here it comes. NutraSweet packets.
Mm-hmm.
So you only need, let's say, 1/4 of an inch, if that. It's like 2 Grab the NutraSweet packets up underneath, put it underneath there. I mean, don't get me wrong, it still sucks and the floor is still gross.
Yeah.
But it's, no matter what's on that floor, it's way better than sitting there with the wobbly table.
Right.
It's horrible.
Yeah.
And I notice it everywhere I go.
And I'm like a 5-year-old kid a lot. So sometimes I'll get it, and I'm just like,
Moving hands.
and Jessica's like, will you stop?
Well, it's even worse when you actually have kids there, right? And one of them has whatever, the iPad or iPod or whatever, and the other one's like, what's going on? And like the whole table at that point is going to go down, right? But then they don't sit still. So like, the wobbly table. Can we please, restaurants, if you have a wobbly table, can we do something? My suggestion, this is strictly my suggestion, go to Home Depot, Lowe's, your local hardware store, and at the door, put a box of shims. A box of shims.
When you grab the menus, you grab those.
Yes, hand them out with straws, give the shims, put them up underneath there. Everybody's happy.
That's hilarious.
But you don't even have to give them out. Just leave them up there, and then if somebody's got a wobbly table, you can go get it and fix the problem.
Yeah.
Wobbly tables suck. So, all right, so we're close, right? So we're close to kind of the wrap up here, the end of the show. Let's talk about final thought here. I'll kind of tell you some of mine, and then you can kind of tell me some of yours after the next song, of course. So we've got 95. That's in our wheelhouse, dude.
Yeah.
Hip hop, R&B. Flip it. Number 18. Oh my gosh, damn, we can't get any. Hip hop, R&B, 95.
Guarantee we know it.
I know we know it. But 18. Give me like
Yeah, top 10. Yeah.
Yeah, he's not doing well. Hip hop, hip to the hop.
How 70s. Remember the conversation we had with going over this 20-year pocket of time?
Yeah.
We were, I think I was 75 to 95. So I love classic rock. And it was a tough window to really, what was the best 20 years of music?
So,
and I would say from 75 to 95 or 85 to 05. Like,
yeah,
80 to 90 or 80 to 2.
I mean, that's gonna switch per generation, right?
Yeah.
But you and I like music a lot more than I think, like, my kid does.
Yeah.
Or my kids do.
My kids love.
Maybe not so much as Tall's probably likes it way more than, and Smalls probably likes it way more than the other one. So rule of the game, right? So I pulled up, this is Billboard 1995, hip hop. There isn't a 17 or an 18, so we're going to go to the next one, right? Wow. And what's crazy about this, I'm not lying, you can look it up for yourselves. Alexa, play Waterfalls by TLC.
Yes!
Did it?
I predicting the score of the Super Bowl, I had the Patriots getting 31.
Yeah.
Nailed it.
Yeah.
Waterfall.
You're like an oracle. You're like a great oracle.
Yes!
So, anyway.
I'm Babe Ruth today.
Follow
my
shot. So, I stream a lot of shows, right? So when I do what I do, a lot of times it's from home. So if I'm in front of a computer, I'm doing it from home. So there's a TV, there's whatever. There's a lot of, especially remote school. There's a lot of distractions.
Yeah.
Right. So you got to kind of come up with ways to fill time, not just for yourself, but fill time for your kids that are home remote school.
Yeah.
Right? Like you got to find a way to get to them, or if they're on recess, yes, they have recess even at home.
Yeah.
Making lunch, whatever it is. And we're busy. Like you, I mean, everybody's busy, right? And so you're always running back and forth. So like if she's got something she's got to do at night, and I'm here, or we're at baseball and she's here, so you find stuff. So I try to find the ways to kind of incorporate kind of my timeline.
Yeah.
Right? So let's just say the 90s. So when I'm home with the boys and it's just us, like, you guys got to check out this movie. So I'm on like Amazon Prime, on Netflix.
Yeah.
And all the sorts, just trying to find like one of those movies.
Yeah.
So Talls, come on up. So this past week, and this just kind of came to me. Let me see. So again, this is Tall, so from on loan from White Oak Productions. on security detail for us today. We don't get this lucky every day, but so like I was saying, so I picked a movie.
Yeah.
What movie did we watch a few nights ago?
The other guys,
You watched that too? That was pretty good. What was the other one?
what? The Naked Gun, was it?
We watched that one too. Keep going. What else did we watch? What was the last one we watched?
Was that the one with like the dude who played Elf?
That was the other guys. So what was the one that we watched where they were trailing around in the car?
Forget.
Man, you forget? Like, you kind of let me down. I thought for sure.
I thought you were gonna.
Do you know what it is?
Yeah.
What is it?
So I introduced him to Tommy Boy.
Oh, that one with the
Awesome.
fat kid.
Yeah, yes. With the, yes. I don't think you can say fat anymore. I mean, it's got to be like the overweight kid. I don't even know how you say it, but yeah, you're right. So, what did you think about the movie Tommy Boy?
It was funny. Mostly like a comedian show, like where they put funny details into it instead of serious, like a serious show. Where
Yeah.
they're actually trying
And what were they trying
Well
to do?
said.
Right? What were they trying to do?
just laugh.
Yeah, it's just a story, right? Do you remember
Yeah,
what Richard and Tommy Boy, what were they doing?
they were trying to sell cars.
Brake pads.
Brake pads.
Fake brake pads, right? So I'm over here like that's a huge, like that movie to me, as far as like
Iconic.
yes, iconic, good word. With my generation was absolutely iconic.
Yes.
Like how many times have you put on
Housekeeping.
like yes, housekeeping, or like put that coat on right now. What are you gonna say?
I said it.
What were you gonna say right then?
He's like, this coat's too small. I'm like,
Fat guy, little coat, right? Like every time, like there's so many
that's funny.
different like things like that you pick up from that particular movie, right? It's like, and there's some portions of it when you're watching. So, Thomas, how old are you?
11.
11, right? So, you know, whatever. Follow. Maybe I'm not the rule follower because it's PG-13. You know,
And parental guidance.
parental guidance,
Guidance.
you're right. So maybe there's some parts in there that you know that probably go like
Yeah.
this. You hope. On the other side, there's other side. It's like you're sitting there like waiting for a reaction. So, like, what was your favorite part of Tommy Boy?
Probably when he was looking out and the girl was naked. He was looking out the window.
So, see what we were just talking about that was supposed to go, did not go, it went right inside.
He was like, is the gym?
Yeah, we got it, Thomas. We got it, Thomas. Good enough. So you proved the point, right? So you can go back to security. Thank you for your input.
Yeah, we are not giving parental advice.
Yes.
But you know what's funny is, oops.
Keep talking. I'm gonna so play.
Yeah, no, you know when we're kids and we watched a lot of the shows that we watched, and I don't know, we just like the show, even in songs sometimes, and you hear it today, and you're like, whoa, I never knew those lyrics. Whoa, I never picked up on that. Those little one-liners and yeah, it's you know, as a parent, yeah, it depends on who you are as a parent. Some care, some don't. Some
Right.
it is what it is. Your kid's gonna learn. Your kid's gonna hear it. You know, there's so many. Again, we're not here giving parental advice. You guys do it your way. We're navigating through it as well. But you know, there's some things that it's just like, really, did they have to go? Did they have to add that line? You know, a lot of Disney stuff where they get their little one-liners in there, and it's just, you know, Jessica, Quentin, you're overreacting. They don't even get it. And it's one of those things that, you know, when they're 30 and they watch that show again, they're going to be like, oh, right, I didn't know that was in there.
Right. It's the exact same thing. Alexa, play "Working on It" by Chris Ray.
Here's Working on It by Chris Rea on Amazon Music.
Sorry. It's off quiet. Anyway, so to your point, like, you're exactly right. Like, stuff back then that we like, and Nicole and I talk about this all the time. Like, the different rating scale.
Oh, Bad News Bears. Whoa.
Like,
that was PG.
Yes.
I sat down and watched
Back
that
then?
with Paige when she was like 10, and I was just like, I was uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Like PG-13 back then is like whatever it is now, R or whatever. You know, like
Yeah.
a complete. Like you just don't know what you're gonna get.
Right.
Right. So yeah, it's just weird. So like so what are are there any shows that you've kind of, I don't want to say kind of Netflix and chill, binge watch that you would recommend, or ones that you like stay away from? It's awful.
Oh man, see, so the family makes fun of me. So I did my genealogy, right, and I found out that originally the last name Suggs is Suggg, and it originated in Sweden.
Yeah.
So it's like, Scandinavian. I'm Viking. I'm just all in Viking.
Yeah.
So no matter what's going on in the world, I'm Viking. So I got obsessed with like Viking shows. So I watched Viking.
Yeah.
And Netflix has The Last Kingdom.
Okay, so I'm
Which is
interested in that.
Unbelievable.
Okay, good.
So first year I watched it, I threw my back out, which is a funny story, and I just watch it. In the first episode, like halfway through, I'm like, where are we going with this? And then it ended well. I'm like, I like their line here, like their storyline. Dude, I watched season 1 that night. It was like 4 o'clock in the morning, and I'm just like, that was fantastic. Couldn't turn it off. Sucks. We're season 2.
Yeah, right.
So it's something that Jessica and I very, very, very much like is The Last Kingdom. I love it. And then, I don't know, just we just have the access, right? So you Google these names, right?
Yeah.
And I listen to all these Viking things and the history of Vikings and where they are in history of time. I don't want to get too much into it, but I became obsessed with the history of that.
Yeah.
And so that is, if you're cheesy like me and you have a fascination with it, I think the storyline is phenomenal.
Yeah.
Every episode ends with Jessica. We'll watch it together, and it's like, and I bet we all go through this too, where it's just like, you don't want to binge watch, right? It's starting to get a little late. You're like, this is the last episode, and it ends, and the writers are so good. You're like,
Let's watch it. Let's watch it now.
yeah. Because when we grew up, it was just like next week.
Yeah.
You didn't have
Yes,
a choice.
we didn't have that.
Now it's like, let's just start. So Jessica and I have a system of, if 40 minutes on, we'll stop it at 20 minutes. That's our thing. It's like, we stop it now because we know when it ends.
There's going to be that.
It's so well written. What are they doing? Yeah. So
That's a good idea.
I love that. And another one that kind of blew me away is called Mindhunters.
I haven't seen it, but I've seen that on the.
Not for the kids. Don't have the kids because it gets pretty gross. But yeah, it's serial killers and how I learned this, and some people might know. I don't know, but serial is a series of killings.
Yes.
Serial killers. Okay, that makes sense. But kind of their psyche on what made them become, and it's so dominated. White males with mother issues.
Yeah.
Or pretty much right.
I've seen that, but I haven't started that yet.
Watch it, man. It's it just makes you look at life a little different. It really does, man. When you see like a troubled situation, for me anyway, it's like my default is, and you hear it all the time, like everybody's fighting their own battles.
Right.
That movie it helps bring it to a different surface of like, so when you hear, I don't know, you see somebody in a situation and you're like, there's a past there.
Right.
And you become a little more empathy to the situation and a little more patient as a person, and you, I don't know, more patient with the situation, if you will.
Yeah, it's different. It's a different take on something.
No, it dives in pretty deep to that whole world.
So speaking of different takes, okay, and you and I have talked about this before because as we're kind of going through some of the stuff we're going to talk about, which there was a show, and I had just finished. Cobra Kai. Right? So it's like at this point, you're like, okay, I need another show. I'm a guy that like I need background noise. Like even like right now, like I need background noise. 2003.
Hip hop.
Country.
Okay.
Give me like a top 5 or
Country.
something. Oh, there we go. 3.
There we go.
Well, we got 2003 country number 3.
Yep.
Let's try it.
Rapping here. Yeah. Told you hip hop and R&B, man. We just naturally did it. It's kind of what country's gone to today, man. It's
changed.
It's not really. It's not country, man. From what I remember, I grew up and my mom listened to country, so I remember Merle Haggard,
yes,
Hank Jr. and
yes,
Waylon Jennings,
yes,
and
all-time favorite.
All of those guys, man. That's country to me, man.
It is, but just like anything, right? So like. It all just evolves, and
like rock music.
Yeah.
Does rock music exist today? Like what you and I know is like rock or rock and roll or heavy metal, whatever you want to call it. Does it exist today?
Man, I don't know because I just don't listen to.
There's a Greta Van Fleet who can wail. That guy's a monster. But
there's
outside of
still-
that, I don't know if there's there's no Metallicas in the
But if
world today.
Metallica made an album tomorrow,
They would crush.
it would still yes.
So yeah, there's no grunge bands that are out there
Alexa,
today.
play "Celebrity" by Brad Paisley.
Your Celebrity
might get paid for
by
this
Brad
one.
Paisley on
Yeah.
Amazon Music.
We don't have the rights, no kickback.
We don't have the rights. We're not getting anything for this, so Alexa, blame her. Shouldn't play it. Alexa, play "Celebrity" by Brad Paisley.
Celebrity by Brad Paisley on Amazon Music.
There. We go.
I don't even know if I know this.
I do. It's not bad. I like Brad Paisley. So, we were talking about kind of just like different perspectives on things, right? So that's like my show after watching Cobra Kai. We talked about that last week.
Yeah.
It's a different perspective on things, right? It's
Yeah.
kind of a little more Johnny than it was from Karate Kid.
Yeah.
So I watched Sopranos like religiously, like favorite show of all time.
Wow.
Favorite show of all time. Like it is phenomenal. Kind of like what you were saying about like waiting for the next episode.
Yeah.
The difference was like they would go through like 9 or 10 episodes in a season, and then they'd be off for like 3 or 4 years waiting for another one to come back. And it's like this is stupid. Like,
That'd be awful.
can we not do? Can we just do? And they went on for like I don't know 9, 10, maybe even longer. We could Google it to see how long. So anyway, it was great. Best show ever. Steven Van Zandt. Right, so Steven Van Zandt is the lead guitarist and has always been the lead guitarist of Bruce Springsteen.
Yeah.
Okay, long hair, like bandana, whatever. He was in Sopranos the whole time, right? As Tony's right hand man, hair's tucked up underneath. I mean, just looking just straight mob, mafia, GQ, your special guy, right? So like I'm flipping through Netflix and looking for a show, and all of a sudden, like, I see his face, right? Like, I thought that was just kind of, I don't know, a hobby, right? I mean, he's already in the E Street Band with Bruce Springsteen.
Yeah.
Bruce Springsteen, like, now he's acting still. And the show's called Lilyhammer,
Okay.
right?
Is
So
that on Netflix?
it is.
Okay.
So it's a Netflix special, Lilyhammer, and so what happens? Just to give you the gist. He's a mob boss, right? I mean, that's his typecast,
That's his image.
right?
Yeah.
He's a mob boss in New York who turns informant. He goes into witness protection. They ask him, "Listen, where do you want to go?" And had watched the 94 Lilyhammer Winter Olympics. He's like, "I want to go to Lilyhammer." So he goes to Lilyhammer and he's minding his own business or whatever, but he only really knows one way of life, right? It's being a boss, telling people what to do, getting people to do things for him, right?
Yeah.
The difference is like the New York, New Jersey style mob and the Norwegian people, right?
Yeah.
Like they're just kind of, if you're Norwegian, I'm sorry, but they're just kind of goofy.
We didn't write the show.
They're just kind of goofy. Like they're kind of clumsy. They kind of don't really know what they're doing. But he only knows one way of life, and it's the mob. So he basically is building this mob kind of without even knowing it. It just kind of happens.
Yeah.
And buys a club, and he's got his right hand Norwegian man, and then all the guys that kind of fought. And it's not like Sopranos, like dark mafia. Like it's kind of more of the, if you remember the Sopranos, like the goofy portions of it.
Yeah, yeah.
To where like there were
Just
times-
watched a lot of it. I dabbled into it. I
yeah,
couldn't.
there were times where Sopranos was hilarious. There were other
Yeah.
times where you were more hooked onto the story than you were the actual items that were happening.
Yeah.
So like, there's a little bit of a story there, but you become more hooked into these people, and like the show is like, it's not going to win any awards, I don't think, or maybe it did. I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know.
But like, I was sitting there and like I'm watching, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I think his name in The Sopranos was Sal or Silvio, and I'm watching him playing the same exact guy, the exact same guy, but now he's trying to wrap a story about like all these 20-something white guys that live in 12-degree weather all year round in 2 feet of snow.
Yeah.
You know, like watching him ski through the cross country ski through the mountains to try to get someplace, or like just the stupid stuff that kind of comes up. Check it out. I would say this: hang with it.
Okay.
It's one of those like, if you could just sit there and kind of force yourself to watch it. Like there will be times like you won't. It's not a belly laugh.
Yeah.
But there'll be other times like you'll chuckle like a lot. You'll chuckle a lot more than you will. And it took me there's only 3 seasons. It took me probably until like the 3rd season to where I was kind of like, I see what they did there.
Yep.
They basically took his character from Sopranos, moved him into Norway, and like
it's kind of like Breaking Bad, where they just broke off all these other characters. And
but it was almost as if like if Sopranos had taken place in Norway, this is what it would look like.
All right.
And I thought it was great.
I'll give it a shot. Jessica will probably like that.
I enjoyed
really
it, but you have to hang with it, like because there's some parts in there that you're like,
yeah.
And then another one, and I won't go into details with this one, but I just kind of started this one. I watch a lot of TV when I'm working from home, but again, the background noise. See,
Goldberg is probably my favorite sitcom of all time. Oh my goodness, man!
We're gonna drive this one home. This is it. We're gonna end the show on this one because this is my jerseys from 1996.
I graduated.
You graduated in 1996.
Yep, this is a good year.
So
and it's red and black. Did you do that on purpose? A little Coleraine.
Everything I do is on purpose. Right? So 1996. Oh, 4. The
top
best
40.
4. Best 4. Flip it again. Or no, top 40.
Top 40.
Yeah. Number 10.
Number 10. That's what we've been begging for.
96. Top 10.
Yeah, Goldberg's is the greatest sitcom of all time. Oh my goodness. So we have it playing. So we used to watch Office, and it would just like play in the background. Like when we were just around the house, it would just play, and you could catch the funny moments. And then Parks and Rec was great. We really liked that. And then Goldberg's kind of took over to where we're cleaning the house, and we just have Goldberg's playing in the background, and it's listening, and it is so. I love that show, man. I could watch it over and over again.
Hold that thought, because here we go. This is the send-off, right? And then we'll talk more about the Goldbergs as it's winding down.
Yep.
We'll finish episode 4 of 52. Alexa, play Twisted by Keith Sweat.
Twisted by Keith Sweat on Amazon Music.
So the Goldbergs. So what's it about?
So it's kind of like Wonder Years
Okay.
in the 80s.
Oh, okay.
So every episode has a theme. He's got a Beastie Boy episode. He's got so everything you remember that's iconic from the 80s.
Yeah.
He themed every episode that. And Goldberg is he did a lot of work with like Adam Sandler. So he's huge in the industry, and it's just kind of his childhood and the way he remembers it. And so when he was younger, he was always obsessed with recording. So there's episodes where he was so excited because he got a video camera, the big old VHS recorder with the tape on the side, the massive thing that he would carry. That he just recorded his family's life as a kid in the 80s.
I don't watch a lot of sitcoms anymore. I used to all the time. So is that still on, or is it?
We watch it on Hulu.
Okay, so
it's got to stream somewhere else.
Yeah.
I couldn't imagine it not streaming because
I've seen it.
Whatever,
even
whatever TV station carries it, ABC, NBC, I don't know.
That sounds awesome. Like that sounds like you and I sitting here talking. It sounds a lot like that.
His brother stole the show, really. Dude, he's hilarious, man. It's you just got to watch it. My brain's scrambled right now because there's so much to cover in the show. But yeah, his brother steals the show, and his dad comes in the house, and he calls his kids morons all the time. And it's kind of how that time we were raised, morons. You go out, whatever.
The 3-year-old kid is
morons. Moron. He comes home, takes his pants off, sits in a chair in his underwear, and just yell at him. Just, honey, what should we do? I don't care. Like dad just is in the dad's world, and it's just kids do whatever you want. And
now, do you ever portray that dad?
Yeah.
Me too.
Yeah. Jess and I, we're not giving parenting advice, but it's my objective for my kids is to make them as self-sufficient as quickly as possible.
Right.
I'll get up when Audrey was in kindergarten, Grace was in 2nd grade, and Paige is in 5th. I would literally wake up, make coffee, and sit down and wait for them to get ready. Jessica's like, "Did you pack them lunch?" No. Like, she's 6 years old. She can grab a bag of chips, a Crustable, a juice box. Like, if they want to eat, make your lunch. Like, if they can operate a washer and dryer, they can do things around the house, you can pack your own lunch. If it becomes a hassle in the morning, do it at night. Yes, that was a standard for my kindergarten kid, and I don't know. They're not going to be under my tutelage forever.
Just in case.
Yes, you're going to.
I want them to be able to go to the pantry, to the closet, to the cabinet, and get a Lunchable out.
Yeah, you can go grab a Lunchable out of the garage. I'm not doing that for you. So Jessica, again, husband, wife, it's like, Gwen, that's ridiculous. She's in kindergarten. Hodge, where are the Lunchables? In the garage. Go get one. Bam. You packed your lunch.
Right.
I'm not doing that for her.
You want a cheesesteak? You want a yogurt? A cheesesteak? I don't want a turkey sandwich. Like, you're getting a turkey sandwich. That's what you need, a turkey sandwich. You don't want a turkey sandwich? Fine. How about some pepperoni and some crackers? No, I don't want them. Sorry, man. What do you want?
Right.
Like,
It's not complicated. We're not making them like a 3-course.
No.
It's.
You're going to throw half of it away anyway to go outside to recess.
Yes, and you're going to trade up with your friends at lunch?
Yeah.
It's wow.
Well, so anyway, that Goldberg's great show. That's our great shows of the week. It's time that we wrap up episode 4. It was fun again.
Yeah.
We did it again. It's fun. 4 episodes out. Next week, we'll be back roughly the same time.
So what was next week's
Same place.
challenge, man? No sports?
Yes.
No sports
We
next
are going
week,
to
guys.
try next week to add sports, which is going to be really hard.
We're going to show our versatility.
Yeah.
I think we dabble into a lot. I think we're sound, but it's just a default of sports because we know it. It's what we grew up on. So that's going to be.
Would you say we're twisted? Or as Keith Sweat would say, like, twisted?
Yeah. So this is we're going to have to have better access to this because life parables we use.
It's all the time.
Yeah.
So, again, it's been fun. Look forward to next week. We'll try to do some more surprises, but thanks for joining us. We'll see you then. Everybody, have a great week. 96, what do we say? Peace out. Peace out.
That was good.
Yeah.
That was good.
I've had to pee for like half an hour.
A client call like back to back.
I get a bunch of calls too. What I want to do one time, the hard part is the danger of doing this. Like, take a call live on air from a random 513 number with the hopes that it's the warranty company.
I think we can do it.
But the problem is, as soon as we did it, it's a lead that's calling us.
Yeah.
Hey, I saw your show, or I saw your house on whatever. Austin, you're done. Good job. You made it.
How much money?
Nothing. Just like that.
Oh man. Yeah, I'm impressed, man. You made it through the show.
I stood there the whole time.
Yeah, you did. We got it next week. We got to give you an extra plug.
Next week, bring your Bears jersey again.
Okay.
I was like
my buddy Tommy, he wants to produce the show. He's like, you guys are on something. He's like, you guys can do it. He's like, it's freaking awesome. You guys, like, you need. He's like, I can tell you what to get. Like, as far as like podcast stuff, I can tell you what to get. Like, he's like, you guys need mics. He's like, you can set them right.
Weber said that too. He's
He's
like,
like,
dude, you got to get mics. He said, I don't even care if they work. Just get mics for the look. But sometimes when you listen I hope that ended.
No, it's even better.